I like after the thing, I like put my finger on the thing. I'm like, guys, I'm like, we killed it there. And like, Gordon yelled at me. He's like, what is this? He's like, it's not a sauna. He's like, take the towel around off your neck or whatever. He's like, we still got like dinner time to go. I'm just like, Jesus. I'm like, I can't win this one. I literally can't win.
Mert,
What's good? What's good?
what's up, dude?
Made it on the podcast. Let's go, baby.
Let's go. This episode should be titled "The Dirt with Mert."
Dude, I'm telling you, man, I have a lot of shit to spill. So let's get this party started.
Really?
Not really. I mean, I don't know.
You make it sound like you're gonna break. You make it sound like you're gonna break the whole entire NDA.
I mean, I got a big NDA, and I can't really like break that shit. So I can say as much as I can without getting in some trouble. I'm kind of gonna
We'll dance around it.
Dance around it real quick. But it's football Sunday. We're making a drink on this because all the other people are drinking fucking water on here. Lame asses. A little whiskey in the rocks.
There you go. Are you
drinking
an
or
hour
no?
behind you. I'm drinking coffee at the moment. I gotta get coffee first.
Bro, put a little Bailey's in there. Step it up. Come on.
Hold on. I'll put some espresso liqueur in it.
There it is. A little espresso martini in the morning. It's Sunday too. It's like brunch time. I'll be at brunch right now, but we're not doing it. We're not doing it today.
Cheers, dude.
Cheers.
Okay. Let's cover a few things. First of all, your food videos are great, man. How do you know how to do this so well so quickly?
Yeah, so I guess
I can see your camera in the back there, right?
Yeah,
Is that what you use for filming?
So yeah, I got two cameras. It's a trick. Two cameras while shooting. And
Okay.
and get an external mic. For all these people, an external mic is very important. So pretty much what happened was during COVID, like every big influencer blowing up right now, they started cooking during COVID. And I remember, I was at home, I was working a corporate job. And so pretty much I was like posting stuff on Snapchat. I'm like, hey, I'm making, something in Snapchat. And people were like, hey, like, why don't you like make like actual videos and post on Instagram or like TikTok? I don't know if TikTok was a thing back then. I think it was like just starting out. And people like really like get in and start making videos. I'm like, dude, that's a lot of work, like a normal job, yada, yada, yada. And then, so one thing led to another, we got the stimulus check that everyone got, like $200 in 1 year.
I didn't.
No, everyone got the stimulus check. During COVID, there was like 2 stimulus checks given out.
I didn't. I couldn't. I was getting paid so much money.
Really? That you're not allowed to do it? Okay. Well,
I was working too much. I like felt bad even trying to apply for it.
Well, my broke ass was fresh out of college, kind of, just working a corporate job, making like $50K a year. So I got the stimulus check. So anyways, working from home, and I finally got the checks. And I'm like, hey, I'm buying camera gear. I'm like, let's get into this. So you kind of like see other people's influences, like what they do on camera, and you kind of want to replicate it and see what's successful. So pretty much I went down a rabbit hole of like, downloading Final X Pro, whatever, the editing website, and then just learning on YouTube, like how to do these different clips and all this stuff. And I try to do actual YouTube for a little bit. It just was so much effort to do the editing. Like, I could edit something for TikTok or Instagram. It takes me, maybe 2 hours from start to finish of just editing, putting it on, stuff like that. But if you do it for YouTube, it took me like 6 hours, 7 hours, because it's like 4 times of a video. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, interesting. Because you have to put up longer content.
Correct. And it's different type of content. You're talking the whole time, explaining stuff, which I still do that during my platform, but it's just a shorter, condensed version. You don't have to talk as much, more ASMR type ordeal, and then it's a lot quicker of an edit.
It is interesting how like all the different apps have like the same content, but like they don't. Like for instance, like I never go to YouTube to look at food content unless it's something like I'm trying to figure out a certain specific way how to do something in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And then I'm looking for like a tutorial, because like Instagram and TikTok are not really tutorials.
They're not.
YouTube,
they're not.
I just use YouTube for like podcasts.
I mean, the thing is that YouTube is great. I've learned so much things off of YouTube, and I think it's the biggest learning tool to find anything else that you want to do. Like, say you want to fix your car,
Right.
you go to YouTube. Say you want to learn how to make, Gordon Ramsay's filet mignon or beef Wellington, you go to YouTube. But then, thing is, you have to use different avenues of information, like different apps for certain things. Like, say TikTok needs something real quick. So I think, for instance, I had to do something with cooking. I don't know what it was, like this week. And I'm like, how do you make this real quick? And I just TikTok it real quick, and then it pops up, and then boom, like I have a 60-second thing. And just like, and I'm pretty good at retaining information. So I like remember that. I'm just like, okay, I can just use that real quick instead of watching a whole 12-minute YouTube thing, It just depends how you're going to use whatever app you're using.
Yeah. How long do you think till kids just don't go to school anymore?
I don't know, man. I mean, honestly, I think school is necessary, but I think all the weird kids were homeschooled, not to break their backs or anything.
And those are the kids that are running the world.
That's the thing. They don't need the social interaction.
No, I mean, if you want it, you have to go out and get it. It's almost like that part's like a sport. I was talking to a friend that has 3 kids, and I was telling, this was before COVID. I was telling her, I was like, there's going to be a day where kids don't go to school anymore. Like the schools, they're going to shut it down, because you can still get your sports and activities in extracurricular. Like all my favorite sports, like I played all the sports at school.
Yeah.
But the ones that I enjoyed the most were the ones that were outside of school. The
Correct.
traveling leagues, the bigger leagues that were more professional, more competition. And so I was in all those, and I told her, I was like, their kids are going to do this from home if we have any more school shootings and whatever. And then COVID hit, and all our kids were at home on fucking iPads. And I was like, I told you.
I mean, I think technology, like, it's great, but it's also like ruining a generation. I think it's like people are so infatuated with their phones and iPads, like to just entertain themselves. And I think it's kind of sad in a sense, because there's so many things to do outside. Like I remember, like, you'd watch TV back in the days, and like the biggest thing is you see all these kids running around the neighborhood, like doing lemonade stands and all that shazazz. And now everyone's stuck at home playing video games and iPads and stuff.
Well, also, like back when, like, I'm probably 10 years older than you.
I'm 28. That's how old I am.
I mean, yeah, I'm exactly 10 years older.
Yeah.
Than you. So like, I remember, when we're watching, like, if we watched TV at home, it was a specific half hour that we had to be at home to watch that specific show. It wasn't just pull it up on Hulu. So if we wanted to watch something, we had to build our whole day around it. So, and I didn't give a fuck about TV when I was a kid. Like I liked watching the Grammys, and I was outside. I'd watch a baseball game, a football game, or the Grammys. I was like, I want to be outside at X Games, building ramps, jumping off shit.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
But I don't think I understand where you're coming from, where it's like a waste of a generation. But I think really what's happening is, I mean, you got to think about, dude, like we're in this like Goldilocks zone. Like humans have only been on this planet for so long. And in the last 100 years, we've only done stuff that's like remarkable. So like when you think about where we were when the first plane took flight to how long it's taken to send shit to Mars, like, that's not a lot of time.
No, you're right.
So like,
you're right.
So like these computers and all this technology, it's just part of the evolution of life. I mean, we're just going to become more integrated into it. And I think it's something more we have to accept, and we need to learn how to regulate for good before it gets out of control.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. Like even like I see myself, like, because I didn't really used to watch TV that much. Like, I was like, I used to like go outside, play sports and all that stuff, build tree houses and trees and stuff like that when I was growing up. But even like today, I can see myself watching more television than I used to, and I'm like trying to get out of that habit. Like yes, I'm like I don't watch like cartoons and any of that BS, but like I'm like watching stuff like to learn stuff. And I'm just watching it like a little too much, and like not actually watching this stuff and doing it. I'm just like keep watching it and like over researching something. And it's like, I mean, yeah, there's some entertainment out there, but it's just like I need to like take a step back and realize I'm doing too much on screens, and I need to actually go outside and do stuff. And I think a good example of like what happened is I went on a ski trip to France, and we went to Courchevel. I don't know if you know where Courchevel is. It's like this ski resort in France, and we went there, and my phone broke the second day of this trip. We were there for 2 weeks, and my phone like it just broke, and we're on bus rides and all this stuff. And I realized everyone was on their phones and I didn't have a phone to use. So I was just like actually looking outside and like just taking everything in. And it was honestly pretty nice to like not have that connection to technology and to actually just take in everything in the outside that's coming in, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, look, like we can all pull up that ski resort on our phone right now and look at it, right? But there's something magical about when you're there being present. I mean, that's one thing like I do with concerts and shit. Like when I go to a concert, I put the phone away. Like everyone's filming it. It's if I wanted to look at it on my if I wanted to look at it on my phone, I would just type in, you know, ACL whatever, and I would watch it on my phone from my kitchen because someone's filming it.
Are you a big like concert guy?
I mean, from being in the music business, I love concerts. It took me a long time to be able to go to them. I used to like really have trouble going to them because all it did for me is I wanted to be on stage. I'm like, I belong up there. What am I doing here? I mean, when I first moved to LA with my band, like when we moved into our place, like the rule was no TV. I didn't let a TV in the house. I was like,
really?
If we have time, because I was like, if we have time to watch that TV, we're not doing our job. Yeah. We're not hustling hard enough.
It makes sense.
And so we had no TVs for probably the first entire year that we were there. And dude, we won the Kiss FM, like LA's Kiss FM Battle of the Bands. We got to play Wango Tango at Staples Center.
Pretty sick.
We did all this shit in the first year, and it was a lot of it was I was like, we're not wasting time on a TV.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I mean, it does like it's a distraction. A TV is a distraction for other things you could be doing that are going to affect you positively.
Now, I put the TV on at night to turn my brain off because I just have so much shit going on. I'm like, let's put on something mindless.
I'm with you.
It's crazy. All right. Let me ask you.
Yeah, I'm all full of answers right now. Yeah, I'm full of answers.
When you're not skiing in France, what was the first question? What was the catalyst? What was like, I'm going to go on MasterChef. I can do this. Was it the cooking? Was it doing the cooking videos? You're like, I feel confident. Were you a MasterChef fan? How much of MasterChef did you watch before going on? Like, where were we?
Yeah. So I guess I'll start in the beginning here. I think I should start of where, like, why I got into cooking. I think that's where we should really start. So, I mean, I've always liked cooking, and you know, as a hobby per se. I mean, again, it's still like a hobby for me that pays a little bit of money when people want to do stuff with me. But essentially, it's still a hobby for me. And I think I grew up kind of cooking. Like I never had my parents sucked at cooking. They're terrible. You know, my grandma was like okay at cooking. I mean, she makes some like pretty good stuff here and there, but it's grandma food. You know what it is? It's just like home cooked.
It's
grandma food. Love you, grandma, but I love you, grandma. But like honestly, it was grandma food. Like it's not like anything crazy. But I remember growing up, you know, I grew up on the beach. So I'd go during the summertime. I love eating fish. Like fish is one of my favorite things to eat. Like steak is up there, but like a good fish, like it'll hit. And I remember during the summertime, I'd go to the beach and I'd like set up all my little fishing poles and like I'd catch a couple fish and bring it back and like make a little fish dish for lunch because I wanted to have fresh fish. So that's kind of how I started cooking. And it'd be like,
at what age were you doing this?
Maybe like, I don't know, 12. No, maybe like 8, maybe 8 or 10. So it was young. I was in elementary school doing this stuff. And I was cooking little fish, bringing that back and making lunch out of them. And then like, I just like always enjoyed like being in the kitchen. And then I remember I went to college and, you know, I was in a fraternity as most can probably distinguish. So I was in college and I remember I didn't go home for Thanksgiving one year because like Thanksgiving and Christmas were like really close that year. And like, there's a football game I didn't want to miss. So I'm like, I spent Thanksgiving pretty much alone. And I see like all these videos of people, you know, making Thanksgiving meals, like a turkey, all this jazz. And I'm like, screw this. I'm making a Thanksgiving meal for myself. So I made like a little chicken. I made like deviled egg. I made like a whole spread of shit that like wasn't going to personally all eat this stuff, but like it lasted like a week. But I made the whole thing. And I realized I'm like, damn, I'm pretty good at this stuff. Like just like following recipes on like YouTube and like just, it's just like because I can grasp information so quickly and remember it and just like whip it out. So like, got pretty good at it. And then I was tired of eating fraternity food. So I started just cooking for myself. I was like, I don't eat like the highly processed stuff. Started cooking myself and just really enjoyed it. And then, yeah, one thing led to another. COVID happened, started making videos and got kind of a little more serious about it. And then I remember I was like with a group of people. They're like, you should apply to MasterChef. And I was sober at this point. And I'm just like, no, I'm not applying to MasterChef. None of this BS. Like, there's no way I'm going to make it on that show. And after like, I think a whole bottle of wine I was drinking, I was smashed. We got on my phone and applied for it on my phone and put the little videos from like Snapchat on there. And then they called me. I don't know if I'm getting ahead of myself here. So they called me for season 13. And as every season is, there's a theme to it. And season 13
since they started the themes in the last like couple of
years. Correct. So season 13 was regionals, and I mean, yeah, I guess I fit the stereotypical Florida boy, but they're like, you'd really be better. They're like, I just don't think you fit the season, because I know in the back of their mind they're like, this kid is going to be the epitome of a Gen Zer for the next season. That's probably what they're
right. They had it. They foreshadowed it.
They knew it, and then they called me back as soon as this season ended. Like as soon as season 13 ended, they're like, "Hey, would you want to apply to MasterChef?" And I'm just like, because it's a gauntlet. It's a gauntlet of going through.
It's so annoying that they make you reapply.
I'm like, you know who I am. Like, and it's the most cringy stuff that they're asking. They're like, oh, like, I don't know if I can say this, but like, just, you can. Okay, it's just like, they're like, yeah, tell Gordon Ramsay why the MasterChef, and I'm wearing like some Hawaiian shirt representing like my Gen Z self and from Florida and whatever. I'm just like yelling at the camera. I'm like, dude, I'm not this high strung. Yeah, you know how it is. Yeah, they put me in Hawaiian shirts every freaking episode on the show.
We'll come back.
Yeah. So usually kind of like showing as much enthusiasm in the camera, and like after this auditioning and stuff like that every day, like it happens multiple times when you're on Skype with them or like making videos. Like like I'm sweating my ass off just from like how that amount of energy I'm putting into this camera to show that I really want to be there. And I do this twice. So then the second time they called me, they're like, hey, like we're really like close to like picking the people, yada yada yada. And I was at an Ole Miss football game. I'm actually going to one next weekend, and they're like, yeah, we'll give you a call. And I was blackout at this game. I was so fucked up at this football game. And like, I think it was
Mert.
Yeah, I think it was, I don't know who called me. Carl called me, or someone called me before. And then Carl called me. He's like, yeah, we're trying to get all the dates in order for you to fly out. Like, you're coming in 10 days. And I am just plastered at this game. Like, we won. It was like, we played against like LSU or something like that, or Texas A&M. And like, it was such a close game. We won by a field goal. And so then next week I was flying out to LA.
You literally got a 10-day heads up.
10 days, yeah. And I was like on vacation too. Like I got back and I had like 3 or 4 days of back, and then. So
what job were you working? You said you were doing corporate work. What were you doing?
So I've always been a sales guy. I'm pretty good at, I guess, talking and that type of stuff. So I was working for a company that does commercial real estate. So I was doing commercial real estate this time. So my niche is I sell mobile home parks, like the entire mobile home parks. So
you're just keeping that Florida trailer trash alive.
Not really. It's actually there's a lot there. Florida has the second most state for mobile home parks, but
you never put it together, did you?
hey, because you got a point there. So pretty much, I mean, yeah, I sell mobile home parks. So I was working for a company, and I was doing that, and then I was still working for them at the time. And then, I mean, it's a commission-based thing. So if I'm not making money, like if I'm not trying to make money, I'm not going to make money. So it's pretty much I can kind of take whatever time I want it all.
So making commission off a trailer trash, that's tough.
I'm telling you, man, you have no idea. Like I don't know, maybe people I don't know if people are in the see that like there's a lot of money in what I do. It's because these mobile home parks, so they're worth like, you know, $7, $8, $10 million, and like you make a real estate fee on that, and I've never stepped foot on a property that I've sold. It's all through like the phone, like, you know,
that's crazy, sight unseen.
Yeah. So I guess foreshadowing, like now, like I left the firm that I used to work for. I started my own firm. I'm a commercial real estate. Yeah, I'm a commercial real estate broker. Like I'm a managing broker, so I pretty much have a team under me that does what I do, and they like call these little parks, all this stuff. Yeah, like I have a whole business behind that. Like I was doing while I was on the show. I was still working. Yeah, there's a lot about that. That's my like main income is what I do.
Got it. Must be nice. You don't have to go anywhere to make money.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like it's work. Like a couple hundred cold calls a day, like, but it's like light cold calls, and like I don't do any transactions actually in Florida. Like the states I usually target are like Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, where like the real trailer trash live. No offense to those people there, but like it's like the southern states, like where it's where a lot of them are, and I can relate to those people.
Also, I was just driving through West Texas, kind of through like the oil center of Texas, and there's a lot of trailer parks out there because they need to house these dudes that are working. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you know about that market. If not, tap into that. There's a lot of space
Texas
out there.
is the biggest state for mobile home parks. I think there's like over 5,000 mobile home parks in Texas.
Wow.
So it's like, I've done a couple transactions in Texas, but it's
interesting.
It's a very niche thing that I do, and it's not. I mean, I wouldn't say it's hard, but you gotta like these people that are buying these parks are like big time investors, and like if you don't know like what you're doing, they're gonna rip you apart on the phone. Like they're gonna make you feel like absolutely. They're gonna make you feel like Gordon Ramsay made me feel during the restaurant takeover. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. We'll get to that too. God, that was rough. What was it? I was just gonna say. No, we were talking about like work. I knew in school that like when I was in high school, I was like, I can't sit here. Like I can't do. I needed to do something that was. I always said I wanted to do art. I wanted to do art in some way, whether it was music or creating something. And then when I found food, and when I learned that food could be art, I was like, oh, I'm in. I'm 100%.
It is art. It is. That's what it is. Like food, like is a type of art. 100%.
I've always found myself with the most expensive fucking job because, like, when I played drums, out of everyone in the band, my shit was the most expensive. Yeah. Like, like the guitar players are like, oh, I got to restring my guitars for the show. Because here's the other thing: when you're do you play music at all?
So, I mean, I love music. Like, don't get me wrong, I love rock and roll. Like, I'd probably like listen to some of the people that you listen to, but like, I had a really big phase when I went to music festivals, like EDM music. Like, I love that shit, and it's like the high energy shit gets me going. So like, I'm familiar with it. Like,
so when you're in a band, when you're, especially after you record a couple albums, you and it's like with food too. It's like, you can see the difference in a good quality steak versus a great quality steak versus a really high end steak. Like, it's minor differences that when you know. So it's like in music, you get addicted to that crispy, clean, like brand new set of strings, brand new drum heads. Like, you know what I mean? And like, you can learn the difference, and you can hear this even to the point where like we could hear the difference in like the cables that we were plugging microphones into.
Like, that is like that minute stuff you can really listen to. And really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like my guitar players, they'd be like restringing their guitars every fucking show because they want that crispy sound.
Yeah.
It's like a pack of strings is $7, dude. My snare drum head is $35. Like, if I want to rehead my entire kit before a show, it's like $300. I'm like, we're not even making $300 tonight. Like, I can't do this.
Yeah, no, it's expensive, man. I get it.
Dude, I always choose the most expensive shit, and I'm like, I'm killing myself. I wish I could just sell chefs to events instead of being the chef at the event.
Yeah. I mean, hey, that you could get into that. Honestly, make an app, be like, needing a private chef tonight. It's like a.
No, here's the thing. All those. They have so many. Well, they've tried so many apps for chefs, and the problem is, and it's just like any gig-based event. The minute the chef gets booked on the app, they show up, and then they have that client. They have access to that client without the app being the middleman. So then they can book with that person again and not pay the percentage to the app.
It's like every type of like hospitality business type thing.
Yeah. You can't. There's no way. The app can only be the middleman for the first transaction, and then once that goes down, then there's no more. So those apps, they come and go. No, one thing I wanted to do, and I couldn't get Endemol Shine to bite. They tried doing it on their own, but they didn't do it right. They did like this like MasterChef Juniors summer camp tour.
Yeah,
which was like,
they asked me about that like vaguely after the show.
Yeah, it looked so bad, but it's like, guys, you're missing the ball. Let's take the fan favorites and the people that can really cook from each season, and get 5 from each season and do a tour. And we book venues.
People they'd sell out so fast.
Dude,
like,
and the easy part is each person only has to do 1 course. And we do 5-course dinners around the country. And then it's like being in a band, five of us on the road.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know why they don't get it, man. I could head that up. Oh my God, could I head that up?
I mean, I'd be down for that. Like, say, like, you know, it was like maybe a month or something like that, but like just like every single day, like 2 months, just every day, just have a venue and just really cook it, and you make a killing. You would make a killing because it gets sell out every time.
If everyone is doing their 1 course, you just piggyback. It'd be 2 days. It'd be like you'd get into the city, you do all your prep. The next day you perform, you know, you serve, and we'd have to have a bus, and then we'd leave the gig after photos, get on the bus, drive to the next city. You'd sleep on the bus during the night. The driver would drive you there. You'd wake up in the next city. You'd get all your stuff to prep. Next day, go.
How do they do it? I'm kind of curious. Now I'm curious how the little MasterChef Junior thing.
They just sent them to like summer camps. Like they were trying to do this whole like built-in watch them cook but not serve. Like they weren't like cooking for the people. It was like they were just cooking live at summer camps.
So
like
no one got to try the food?
No, not to my knowledge.
Yeah, I'm doing all right. I mean, it's a really good idea, and like with the platform, I think it'd be very profitable and successful. But you gotta do it right. You have to do it right.
But I mean, you look at AGT, you look at American Idol. They promote all their people, not just the winner. They promote all their people, and look how strong their show is.
Yeah, I mean,
MasterChef doesn't.
They don't, and I think it was a little. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to bash MasterChef, but like, I think it was a great experience, stuff like that. But like, I wish they would kind of promote us a little more. I mean, like. Granted, like everyone has this huge vision. They get on the show, and you're like, "Oh my God, I'm about to be famous!" Like, so many followers are going to come in, and like, it's not. It's a reality. It's not. It's just not how it happens. It just.
And it's weird too because like season 10, man, when those guys went, like, it was the height of food on Instagram, so every one of them blew up. I mean, like if you take Nick DiGiovanni and you put him 2 seasons before or 2 seasons after, he's not who he is today.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Correct.
So. And no slight to him, he's put in major work, and obviously he's got some kind of money behind him.
He's very like. I mean, the thing is, a lot of people don't give these YouTubers credit the amount of work that goes behind the scenes, and like
he definitely puts it in.
He has a team of people that he probably coordinated. He definitely had some help from like his parents and stuff like that. I know he came from.
There had to have been startup money because watching what he did coming out of there, there's no way he was able to do all that just organically.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
But. No shame in that. Like if you got the startup capital to hire a team and make that shit happen, like good for you. He had a vision and it's awesome. But yeah, like. But
even his first couple videos on YouTube though, like I mean, like were they great? I think he was cooking like a king crab. I mean, that's how he started, and then just started blowing up. So I mean, sometimes it's I don't know. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna make any assumptions, but like I mean, he's very successful. Kudos to him. Super nice guy when I met him.
But like for your guys' season, like you guys have, it's been double episode, double elimination.
Oh,
it was
like
we got
we
got nobody's story.
No one's story, and the thing is like when you have 2 episodes in one or 2 episodes in 1 week, it's like half the amount of time you get to promote us. You know what I'm saying? Right. There's half the promotion, and then it's like like I mean, granted, I made it as far as I did. You know, I didn't think I was going to make it that far. I'm going to be dead ass honest right now, but
really,
it made it as far. Yeah, we'll go to that. We'll go to that a little later. But I'm saying like I thought I was going to get a little more out of it than it actually happened. I mean, I would do it again because I like being on TV, but like it's just a little more happy. You know what I'm saying.
So when you're in your audition process, what was your audition dish before you cooked on MasterChef? Before you cooked for Gordon Ramsay, what did you make?
That was it. That was my dish. The lobster tempura roll with with the lobster slaw and spicy mayo, and
So then you did it again on the.
Yeah, because I mean the story people on the show, they're really good at putting they're good at putting your story together. Like they're gonna pick the dish that represents you. So I remember I had a couple things that like I thought they're gonna pick, and when they picked the lobster dish, I'm like, makes sense. Like I cooked that, and then I went into interviews, and I'm just like, now this whole I get why you guys are putting me as like the Florida boy that fishes and lobsters that that's it. So I made the dish. I thought I made the dish like quite a few times, like for my roommates and stuff like that, and they really like it. They're like, oh, make the lobster sushi. I'm like, you know how much work that fucking is? Do you know how much work to make tempura batter and wrap lobster and cook it 2 ways and all? Like people don't realize that. But yeah, I made
Good
that.
stuff takes time.
It is, but it was a creative dish and I liked it. But yeah, that was my initial dish.
Yeah. Dude, you had quite the journey. It was up and down, up and down.
Yeah.
Like,
and it was. And the thing is, I know, just like when you get on a television show, yeah, you're showcasing cooking. Okay. You're showcasing cooking, but you gotta think of the big picture here. There has to be a personality behind every cook. They're not. I remember I did a whole Reddit thing. They're like, oh, like, you know, someone asked about something about personality. I'm like, if they're gonna pick between two people, one with a absolute lame ass personality and someone that's gonna give 100% on camera and interviews, who the hell do you think they're gonna pick? It's reality TV, and I think a lot of people don't realize like MasterChef, it is about cooking. I mean, honestly, like all the people that went home on each episode, I think deserve to go home. I don't think they favorited people like not going home, but I think you got to put yourself in a situation of like you got to play chess while others are playing checkers, because you got to know what's going on in the next episode. You know, you got to strategize of not to put yourself in certain situations where you know you can go home, and put yourself in situations where you know you can excel. You know, it just like prime example, like the first field challenge in LAFC. I'm just like, you will not catch me dead on that grill. You will not catch me dead on that grill, because if that steak does not come out wrong, or if that steak does not come out right, guess who's fucking going home?
yeah, but here's the deal. Here's the deal about that.
Yeah. There's good.
Because every challenge, whether it's the first challenge or the last team challenge, I've always been the one.
I watched your ass on season 6. I literally just watched it this week. So you're like, grill, let's do it. Like, I'm like, bold move, Cotton.
Well, they also, what they didn't show is on season 6 when we were at that amusement park.
Yeah.
Fucking, it was. So Dan, the guy Dan, which I don't know if you noticed how he just disappeared.
Yeah.
That part, I'll tell you that story. That one's crazy. I'm enough outside my NDA. I feel like I can share that one.
Yeah. Dan's a model guy, right?
He's a fucking model, but he's also a fucking scientist. Like,
really?
He graduated like some super high fucking school. Like, he's an actual on paper certified scientist. This dude's so smart.
Yeah.
And then also so goddamn good looking. You're just like, fuck you, Dan.
Yeah, fuck this guy. Now you're trying.
I'll put my balls on your drum set, Dan.
Yeah, fucking Dan. But yeah, he just disappeared. What happened?
Well, hold on. So that episode, Gordon's like, you guys can pick your teams. Well, Dan already saw me as a threat. But when it came to team challenge, you want your biggest threat on your team because that means they're good. So Dan and I were in the bus, and we're secretly strategizing because we had hard ice. Every time we were on a bus, we were not allowed to talk, and they were adamant about that. So Dan and I were like, we were given like, if we can be on a team, we're going to be on a team, right? And we're like, yeah. So Dan and I are already making this strategy. Well, then when Gordon Ramsay's like, you guys can pick your teams, pick your teams now, all the girls ran to Dan and Tommy and me. And Tommy just might as well be a girl as well. So I'm the only alpha on this team because I don't even consider Dan a fucking alpha.
Yeah.
Because when the hard shit came to, he bitched out and went to the back and was like, "I'll be on coleslaw." I'm like, "You fucking bitch."
No, I mean it's a smart play though. There's smart plays in there.
There was no one to do grill on that challenge. There was no one, so I had no choice. And I'm looking at these because we had 4 flat tops. I'm looking at all 4 of them, and I'm like, "All right." So I'm like, this is just a puzzle. We've got. I got to go back. Did it say how many we had to cook for?
I think it's 200, and then
it was a lot. It was more than 100.
Yeah, but I think like half and half. Like you're only serving 100, I think, or some. I don't know.
No, I think what he told us is there was 500, and we were each serving 250.
Okay, maybe it's that. I just know it was a bigger number than 100.
It was a massive fucking number, and so I'm looking at the grill, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start. We got all our patties, and I was like, I'm just going to start laying down patties, and I'm going to go as far as I can down the grill until it's time to flip, and then I'm going to run back and start flipping, and that's going to be my timing, right?
Yeah.
And so I start doing it, but I didn't put into consideration how fucking hot it was outside, so it was actually making the burgers cook faster.
Yeah.
And then it got to this point where like I couldn't keep up with my own self.
Yeah.
And I just remember I had this in the corner of my eye. I saw Gordon Ramsay walking stern.
Yeah.
And he's got a burger in his hand and he's walking. And I'm like, oh, fuck, he's coming to me.
Yeah.
And he comes around the corner. He's like, I think we were blue team. You just what? Were we blue? I don't remember. He's like, blue team, who's cooking the fucking burgers? And I'm like, I'm looking around. I'm like, hi, chef, it's me. And he's like, what is this? I was like, it's a fucking hockey puck. I was like, everybody on my team is scared of the grill, and I can't do 500 by myself.
Yeah.
And then he got mad at my team and not me. He's like, well, I appreciate your honesty and thank you for jumping on this grill. And then he's like, he's looking at Dan like, what the fuck, Dan? And then he made Claudia step up, which looking back, I'm like, why did you pick Claudia? Out of all the people, why did you pick Claudia? That was really strange to me. But
yeah, I'm not
looking back.
I don't want to dive into that too much, but yeah, I'm picking up what you're putting down. And
so Dan was an interesting one.
Wait, how did he go home? I remember him just disappearing. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you. So, okay, this is wild. So Dan, being a model, and look, for me, I came from the music business. I read through my contract like 3 times.
Yeah.
We're on the way to Vegas to go shoot the Vegas episodes, the team challenge.
Yeah.
And which also ended up being my favorite part of the show.
It looked fun. It looked like a fun challenge there.
Well, it was stressful as fuck.
Yeah.
Dan is a part of this. So we're about 45 minutes outside of LA, out in the middle of the fucking desert, and all of a sudden both of our vans pull over. And we just pull over, and they're like, hard ice, don't talk. And JP gets off the bus, and and Carl gets off the bus, and then Yaz gets out of their car, and then Dan comes out, and they're standing like in the middle of the desert, and they got one cell phone out, and Dan's on it, and we're all like, what the fuck? Why don't we get a cell phone? We're all like, this isn't fair. Something's happening and it's not fair.
Because it's a big, honestly, the whole show's a big mindfuck to every contestant. You never know what's going on. Like, they'll say something and you're like, wait here for like an hour. It'll be like 6 hours and you have no idea what's going on. Like, it's just like a psychological project, I think they're having on us.
So Dan's on the phone for like 20 minutes, and then we get back on the buses and we start driving, and we're all like, what the fuck? And they're like, stop asking questions. It has nothing to do with you. Something's wrong with Dan's family. And we're like, okay. So we believe it first. And then we pull over again, and they pull Dan out, and he's on the phone. And then they send all of us into the gas station. So in the gas station, we're all talking to everyone that's on Dan's bus.
Yeah.
And so someone on Dan's bus leaks that there's something with Dan's contract. And we're like, what? They're like, yeah, something happened with Dan's contract. So then we get all the way to Vegas. We get our rooms. We're told to be there for a while. And then we went to our fittings. And then we went to the green room. And our challenge was to cook for 101 people on the top of the Dreas nightclub, which was super dope. They built this entire stage over the pool. But then there was this shit happening with Dan. And this shit happening with Dan. And then like hours go by. We're in the green room longer than we've ever been, and we're just like, what is happening? We were supposed to do our challenge at like 8 and 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
It's now 2 o'clock in the morning.
You did that challenge at 2 a.m.?
Uh-huh.
Oh, like with the dancers and all that stuff, like all those people showing up.
All those people, yeah. It was late in the middle of the night.
Oh my god!
Because also
wild.
This lady, Sandy Songbird, she was one of the ADs or something. She was setting up the stage, and the stage wasn't full. It was a glass stage, so you could see through to the pool. It wasn't fully set up yet, and she stepped off of it and like blew out her knee, and she landed in the pool and everything. So she had to go to the ER. Like, there was so much happening.
So it's just one thing after another.
One thing after another.
Oh
2 a.m. We're standing up there.
Yeah.
And Gordon goes, I have to apologize to everyone and the viewers at home. Dan had to fly home to Chicago for a family emergency. He'll no longer be in the competition.
Oh my god!
And we're all like,
no,
we're all like,
way.
What? Yeah, we're just like blown away. So then, I became, you've become friends with some of the producers, whatever, on the show. So I became friends with one of the producers, and after it was all said and done, I hit her up, and I'll leave her name out of this, but I was like, she's like, let's go grab a drink. And I was like, cool. So we go grab a drink. And I was like, yo, we're chatting. And then I was like, yo, what happened with Dan?
Oh, so you get the tea. Okay. Yeah.
Here was my opinion too. They have a storyboard back there of who they think is going to win, and they have an A column, a B column, and a C column.
Yeah.
And I was not up there until Dan went home.
Really?
Yeah.
Why do you think that?
Well, Dan was so good, and he had such a good story, and he had such a good smile, and he just had everything that they were looking for. So then the producer says to me, so Dan, once we got to LA, Dan was like, hey, I never got my contract back. I want to look at it. And the producer was like, yeah, I'll email you one so you can look at it. Because they're all the same. So she's like, I'll just email you one. Couple episodes goes by, and he's like, no, I want to see mine. I never got mine back. And so it like sent this red flag, and the story producer went to like an EP, was like, hey, get the lawyers on the phone. We need to take a specific look at Dan's contract because he keeps asking me about it. And they were like, what? They're like, yeah, he's asking specifically about his contract. So then they start going through it. He made amendments to his contract and didn't tell them.
He just put it on there and signed it?
He just made the amendments, signed it, and sent it back.
Oh, my God.
His dumbass, as smart as he is, if he wouldn't have said anything, the producer was like, he was probably going to win because he was crushing everything.
Yeah,
she was like, he was probably going to win, and if he would have won, we would have had no rights to any of his shit.
Yeah, he could have said whatever he wanted about the show.
Not only that, he wouldn't have had to do a cookbook. He could have gone and done whatever appearances he wanted. Dude, he was ready to fucking roll. And he got insecure about it and kept asking for his contract. He fucked up.
Dude, curiosity kills a cat, man. That's how it works. Damn, that is wild. I'm not gonna lie. Shout out to Kamei here. She read the contract because she's a lawyer, and they gave me that contract. I flipped to the last page. I'm like, let's get this party. Let's get this party started.
Yeah, like, I mean, look, when they tell you can't make any amendments, it's really like, do I want to be on the show or not?
Yeah, like,
right?
I mean, because everyone's on there. I mean, you're just trying to, first of all, you're just trying to get on the show in the first place. And second of all, you're just trying to see how far you can get on the show. Like, I'll say where the hell it comes to my mind for me to say on this show. So, I mean, yeah, it's funny, man. It's a cool experience. That's crazy. What an idiot. Why do you fucking say anything?
So, watching it back,
yeah.
How do you feel about how like cocky you came off?
I mean, here's the thing: MasterChef needs a villain, and
yeah, but you didn't come off as a villain. You came off as more like foot in your mouth.
I was just like, I mean, the thing is, here's the thing: I think I was a cocky asshole starting this thing, and I got humbled fast. Like everyone knows, you get humbled fast, and it just like I was talking big talks, and I thought, honestly, the first dish that I made, when they're like, yeah, it tastes like spicy baby food, I thought that dish was delicious. I thought it was so damn good. I was like, I killed this dish. I'm like, there's nothing wrong with it, and it was mush. It was terrible, but I'm just happy that the storyline was able to kind of start me off on the most hated person in MasterChef history, and then, like, I was just beloved.
I wouldn't say that.
I don't know about that.
You really think so?
I don't know, man. I was pretty up there, but then I was just beloved by people afterwards. So it was a cool journey to go like from bottom to top. And
well, I think also the humbleness happens on your end a lot faster than we see it, especially because once you're in that interview room and they're coaxing it out of you, they're like, give us the Mert that we know.
That's
you know
what I'm saying, man. They're like, because they're good at their jobs. You know, the people in the interview, like behind you, like, I think, I'm not going to say who it was, but she's really good at getting the stuff that they want out of you. And
Michelle.
Yeah. And the biggest thing they want to see you do is cry. They want to see some freaking tears. And did
they ever mention how much I cried?
No, they didn't say anything about you crying, but they try to make me cry, and they're trying to have every avenue, like they're trying to bring up like family, they try to like bring up something with family. I'm just like, I looked at them like in the soles of their eye sockets and said, do a different approach because you're not going to make me cry here. And they're like, okay, fine. Like it's they weren't, it wasn't going to happen. Yeah, because I was just
that's one of those things that they're like, okay, we're only going to let you go so far.
Yeah, but
I would go in that room and I would go, what do you want me to say?
I did that at the beginning. I
would just be like, what's the story here? I was like, what do you need?
Yeah. I mean, because you have to conform to what they want, and I mean, I was willing to do that, but The thing is,
Well, it ends up being more fun playing ball, honestly.
yeah. I mean, and the thing is, I didn't think I was getting fifth place. There's no way. I remember when they were putting on we were trying on the chef coats, and I knew that was like for the restaurant takeover, and we're like at like top 10 or something like that, or like top 12. And I'm like, why the hell am I trying one of these on? I'm like, I'm not making it to that stage of this competition here. I'm like, there's no shot, because you see people cooking every single day, and there's a lot of really, really talented cooks there, but I never really thought of myself as like that phenomenal of a cook. And I mean, lo and behold, like, I guess I'm better than I thought. But
well, it's also a puzzle. Like, you know, you're presented with the challenge,
yeah.
And like we were talking earlier, like you get given a challenge, and it's like, I made sure when I was given a challenge, I was always thinking, what's the best play for this challenge? Not what's the best thing I can cook. Like, I can cook a ton of shit, but like when they gave us a spicy challenge, I went and did a spicy churro. Now, I fucked up the churro because guess what? There wasn't any fucking piping tips that were large enough. They were all really small. So I was fucked.
Like this. No,
but that whole thing, if I would have done those churros perfect, I would have crushed that episode, because I was the only one doing dessert for a spicy challenge. So, like, I was just thinking, I always thought this puzzle is what's the best for the challenge, and what do I have in my wheelhouse? What have I already done? What am I trying to save for the finale too?
Correct.
Because when I did my audition, when I auditioned for MasterChef, my audition off camera was a scallop dish, and then my audition on camera for an apron was a lamb dish.
You're talking about the audition dish that you did for the before. Like, you guys know what that was?
Yeah, so pre-COVID.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like, where you had a videotape you're cooking the whole entire meal for the interviews?
See, that's post-COVID interviews. Pre-COVID, we had to make a dish and take it to a hotel and plate it in front of producers.
Yeah. How was that? I'm kind of curious how that went down.
Dude, this lady next to me, I've talked about this before, this lady next to me made this fucking tuna fish sandwich and served it with a fucking Bud Light margarita.
Shut up. That's disgusting.
And she was stoked about it. She must have been from one of your trailer parks. Dude, it was bad. Anyway, so I did the scallop dish for the hotel audition. I did the lamb dish for my apron, which I had never made prior to MasterChef. I was so broke when I was auditioning. They wanted us to put together 4 recipes and email them in, because they were going to choose which one was going to be our audition. And I put this lamb dish on there that I made up in my head, and I had never made it before, and that was the one that they picked. And then another dish that was on that was this miso black cod with a daikon puree and shishito peppers and bonito flakes.
Yeah.
That was in one of my auditions, and they didn't pick it. They picked the lamb dish, and I saved that for the semifinale, and I fucking crushed the semifinale with 70% of the vote.
Black cod is so good, man. Black cod is I think it's like...
But I had that dish in my back pocket, and I was just waiting, and then I was like, okay, this is the time to pull the trigger on that.
Yeah. Damn.
But that's how I thought about the game.
Yeah, no, you have to think it strategically. I mean, you can't just be using the best stuff right up the front. You can't.
Right.
There's no way, because you're going to run out of stuff. I mean...
Well, and also there's so many people in the beginning that, like, again, is it your time for your story? Because if it's not, don't waste a good dish.
Exactly. That's why I was whipping up mango curry on the first one. I'm like, get this shit out of here. Like, I know this is going to my childhood. I mean, I'm not going to get... I thought I was going to get sent home that first challenge. I'm like, I'm going home.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I thought I was gone.
How did you all feel when C went home first?
I love C. He's honestly this very, very humble guy. And because he was a really, really good cook. And then when he went home, I was like, shit. I'm like, I ain't fucking around in MasterChef now. And I'm like, I went home and I was like, golly. And I was still there. And I'm like, how did my little mango curry, beat his little lobster? But after looking it back on TV, like, you kind of see, you're like,
yeah, there's just some fatal errors.
Yeah. And the thing is, one mistake will send you home. I mean, that's just how it happens. Every single day you're surviving for your life out there, and one stupid mistake, it will send you home. That's how it works.
Yeah. And the other thing, people forget, people that watch that want to go do this show, is like, you guys sometimes you film 2 episodes in one day. So like you see somebody go home, and then you got to go home and sit on that all day. But then the next day, like you go to sleep and you come back, and it's like you gotta like pretend it didn't happen.
Yeah,
and it's really hard.
The thing is, it's as much as it is a cooking game, is a very like strong mental game. Do you see people like middle of the season? They're like, I'm done with this. Like I just don't want to be here anymore. And like you can just see the energy. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, maybe going home is probably the best option for you, man. I'm like, just shit the bed on this one. And it's kind of funny.
Like, I loved that part of it because mentally, like, I don't know what it is. I don't know where I learned it or picked it up, but I'm like, I can just be the mentally strongest one in the room. Like, and I walk into that room and I'm like, I've already got you all beat with the mind game, you know?
Yeah.
And
the mind, you got to play. The mind game is strong. I mean, it's literally endurance to get through this because it's every day you're pretty much cooking, and it's long days. It is long days for like, you know, it's interviews, cooking, and there's so much behind the scenes. Like, I'm not gonna say what it is, but there's so much behind the scenes that you don't see, and we are exhausted. Like some of these, like the Corey challenge, we get there at 5 a.m.
So it's finale time.
Yeah, I think you should have won that. I think your dish was so fucking good, dude, compared to Claudia's.
First of all, my pork belly watermelon 3 ways was better than anything that
has been made.
So
I want to try that. It looks so.
There's
still so cool.
Every episode of it, there's still nothing better than that dish. And here's how you can tell. Yes. You know, when Gordon tastes the dish, he takes 2 bites. Gordon ate the entire plate.
Mm-hmm.
He ate the entire plate. It's the only entire plate he's ever eaten.
Yep.
Okay, so let me tell you what happened. The finale in season 6 was only 2 people. They weren't doing the 3 yet. So it was 2 people. So we had our menus, and we had to go present our menus to production because they have to be able to get all the ingredients and whatever. And we also have to practice it to make sure we can do it in time. Well, we had, at that point, the finale, we had 2 green rooms. So Claudia and I were separated the entire time.
Yeah.
So we weren't listening to each other. We weren't overhearing, whatever.
Which is smart. I get that.
They put me in the wrong green room. And Claudia was in the test kitchen presenting her menu, so I could hear everything.
Really?
Yep.
So you're in the downstairs green room.
This was a different studio. We were on the Disney.
Okay,
we were on the Disney lot. So they were side by side. But I was not supposed to be in this one. But they put me there, so it wasn't like I wasn't doing anything malicious. I went where I was told.
Yeah.
And I could hear the entire menu pitch from Claudia to production.
And this is before the. I mean, I know this is before the finale, but this is like a couple of days before the finale, where they're like kind of.
It was a week before.
Yeah.
It was a week before.
Yeah.
We had a whole week to prepare our finale meals before we could. So she's pitching this menu, and it's this like French style menu, and blah 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 blah. And production goes, "You literally will not win with this menu."
Really?
They go, "You have to change your menu."
Oh my god! Because it didn't go the storyline with her. Is that it?
It just, it was. There was nothing the whole time she cooked Mexican food, and this whole menu there was nothing Mexican about it. And I was like, "You sons of bitches! You should let her cook that menu."
You sons of bitches.
And I heard the whole thing go down, and I was like, "Oh, this is bullshit."
Did they tell you anything to critique your menu or no?
Yeah. So. We get, an hour for each course.
Yeah.
And my pork belly watermelon was definitely fucking ambitious because the pork belly needs like 45 minutes in the pressure cooker.
Yeah.
And plus I needed to sear it. I needed to get all the spices together. I needed to get all the liquid in that pressure cooker.
Yeah.
And then I needed to close it. So literally there was no room for error on that one because by the time I'm popping the lid and letting the steam out and popping the lid and getting that thing on the plate, there's literally 2 minutes. There's 2 minutes to get that pork belly from the bottom of that pan to the plate. But everything else really, really intricate but easy on that dish. Like it was just a lot of steps.
Mm-hmm.
But the pork belly was the one that was down to the wire. Fine, but I did it.
That dish kind of reminds me. Have you ever those little ribs from the Chinese restaurants?
Yeah.
That's what kind of reminds me of that dish. I don't know why.
Well, I was kind of in that realm. I mean, I made like a watermelon like duck sauce kind of Um, anyway, but that one was fine. Like, I was able to get that one done in the hour. The venison dish, the cage, like they were. I didn't have like I did all the timing. I didn't have time to make a backup cage. Like it was, I had to make. I had to roll out 3 cages.
I saw
and 3 cages was it. And if one of those breaks, I'm fucked.
SOL. I saw that. Looked incredible. That looked crazy. That dish. Crazy.
Thank you. And so with that one, there was no. It came down to the wire, but I could get it done if I only did 3 cages. So I did. So in practice, I was able to get that one done in an hour. The dessert with that challenge, I wanted to showcase everything because we had Christina Tosi on that season.
Yeah.
That was her first season, so we were very dessert heavy. So I wanted to showcase.
Was she a nice lady?
She's cool. She's chill. So the dessert, I wanted to showcase everything I learned throughout the season. All the different techniques that I learned in dessert, I wanted to put into one dessert. So I put this dessert together, and they start the clock in the test kitchen, and it took me an hour and a half. I was 30 minutes over.
You were cooked. You got to switch up your dish.
No, and they were like, you need to change your dessert. And I was like, no. I was like, we have 3 practice.
You're going to get it down.
I was like, I will get this down. I'm going to go home. I'm going to write out all my steps tonight. And I did. I went into the hotel. I wrote out every fucking step. And I was like, where can I cut? Where can I trim? What can I do faster? What can I do at the same time? Yada, yada, yada. And I was like, all right, let's go. So next day we go in. Time to do dessert. Did it in an hour and 15 minutes.
There you go.
They're still like, you need to change your dessert. I was like, I get one more practice.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay. They're like, if you don't change this now, you can't change it because we won't have time to get you the ingredients.
Yeah.
And you won't have a practice at it. And I was like, understood. So I went home and in my head, just like redoing the dish over and over and over in my head to cut. Come back to that third practice. I was at an hour and 7 minutes.
You're just like gonna wing it. You're like, fuck it. If I'm going out, I'm going out swinging.
Production was pissed. They were all like, Derrick, we told you needed to change. You're not gonna finish on stage. And then Adeline, who's still a good friend, she was one of the executive producers, amazing woman. She walks in and she goes, hey, everybody, when Derrick's adrenaline kicks in, he'll make it happen. And she like stood up for me. And then all culinary was like, all right, fine. Good luck.
You made it happen. I mean, I saw the struggle with the cake getting out of the
Oh, you want to know the struggle with that?
Yeah, let's hear what happened there.
So in the demo, we had a 0.75 liter whipped cream can. It was the regular size one. So my recipe is made and portioned for that. Well, on set that day, they gave me a 1.5 liter, twice the size.
So it's not going to fill the whole thing up.
So my batter is only like at the bottom like this, and there's not enough CO2 to fill that whole thing. So I'm putting more in, and it froze my batter. It fucked me.
Oh my god! I saw like the look in your face. Oh, I mean, while watching, I don't know, like really,
because
really
I was trying to do the math in my head, and I was like, I don't have enough stuff to redo the cake batter, and because I was like, okay, I have a double thing. I need to do a double amount of batter now, and so I was doing the math in my head, and I was like, fuck. So what I did is I just charged it. And then I opened it up and I dumped the cake batter out into the cups and then microwaved them.
That's smart.
But honestly, if I would have just done a regular sponge cake and then peeled it, like peeled it apart like coral, I would have gotten the same effect and it would have been way less stressful. But it
make a TV, all right? Make a TV.
It did. It fucking did.
Yeah, make a TV. I watched the finale and I was like, I mean, I'm not going to I just think your dishes were just way more complex than Claudia's. I was kind of shocked when
they were.
Like, yeah.
Everyone was shocked. Everyone's still shocked. I still, dude, I can't go a week in the grocery store. I can't. I could literally. I mean, how many years has it been? 8 years. I could send you 8 years, 365 messages a year of someone that says, "I don't get it." You know?
Yeah. It didn't make sense to me. I mean, Kudos to her though, like nothing against her. I think
I have everything against her.
Well, talking about like kind of change the subject here, like for people like watching the show and like going out, like do you go out to eat a lot? Let me ask you that.
Do I what?
Do you ever go out to eat? I'm assuming you go to eat here and there.
No, I go out to eat a lot, but when I
really?
go out, I go to I go to places I can't cook.
Yeah. So exactly. So when people ask me all the time, like, oh, like, do you go out to eat? And like, not really that much. Like every time I go out to eat, unless I'm spending like a pretty decent chunk of change on a dinner, like I like for being at the caliber of like cooks we are, like we will pick apart every single aspect of a dish. It's just how it is. Like that's how
I don't
really.
Yeah,
I will rip apart a dish. Like say I get like a burger at a place. I'm like, this is undersalted. I'm like, they didn't toast this right. I'm like, it's just like everything is just like going in my mind. I'm like,
can I give you some advice from your future self? Because I feel like that's what I am.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, rip it into it.
It's partially your ego talking. It's coming from a place where like you know how to do it, you know how to be back there, and your ego is going, I want to discuss this, I want to talk about this, and your humble self has to go, hey, I'm at fucking Chili's. Like I should know what I'm getting. Yeah. And so right. and that's really what it is. It's like, and then you also got to, and then it comes down to perspective too. It's like you can go to a really nice restaurant and like, do you know what's happening with the chef? Is the chef even there that night? Is the sous chef getting his first night at running the reins? Do we have new cooks in the kitchen? Did the dishwasher not show up and chef is fucking doing dishes and, the headline cook is running the past? Like, yeah, there's so many things that could be a factor. And so I think about that stuff more when I'm out than like how the dish is put together. Don't get me wrong though. When I go to fucking, a Michelin star restaurant, that's a different story. I'm definitely critiquing it. And if I'm not blown away, I'm not going back. So
pretty much like you have a different thought process going to a normal restaurant compared to like really going to a nice place.
Yeah. I mean, when I go to the Michelin star restaurant, I'm fucking like, I'm going as a food critic for myself.
Yeah. No, gotcha. I maybe I need to start thinking like that. I think like I do need to humble myself while I go to a normal restaurant and not criticize everything. I think that's the thing. I mean, but the thing is like I'm hot off coming from the show, so I get I'm getting ripped apart on TV. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna rip apart these people in my head right now. Yeah. Like, it's not it. Going home, pack your apron. You're going.
Yeah. So, but that restaurant challenge is fucking tough.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's not a challenge you want to be captain for. I mean,
you got fucking humbled real quick in there.
Well,
tell us how you felt when Gordon's just like, stop fucking laughing.
Well, it wasn't me laughing. It was Becca laughing. Becca laughed at.
Oh yeah, Becca laughed. Yeah. What was the thing that he said to you? You did something.
Okay, so I'll tell you. Okay, I'll tell the truth here. What happened in that?
No, but tell what we saw first. There was something you did, and he
thumbprints. I put the thumbprints on the plate.
Or there was the stand. It was like stand up straight.
Oh yeah. I was like, let's get this party started. That's what I said.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And he's like, there's no party. He's like, sit up straight. I'm like whatever it was.
Fucking roasted you real quick.
Well, here's the thing. I was just I think the whole time people don't understand. Like I was just having fun on the show. Like people take this
what you should be doing.
Yeah, people take the show so serious, like being on there, and like actually, I'll tell you what happens this, and then I'll go into that because there's a whole rant I want to go on that aspect.
Okay.
So pretty much in this restaurant takeover, I knew, of course, the one challenge that I win is the wall challenge, and I know what's coming next is the restaurant takeover, and I know how this show works. That I know I'm captain. It's the last thing I want to be captain for. So I was like, they're like, yeah, like we pre-picked captains. So I'm like, I know I'm captain. I get it. Like I get it. I'm captain here. Like yada yada yada. So pretty much. Can
I cut you off real quick?
Good.
That's Gordon saying if you do well as captain, you could win this thing. That's like the final boss. Like, correct. There's a couple more challenges, but that's the restaurant takeover is the final boss. And if you can prevail, you win. Anyway,
yes,
go ahead.
Correct. So From it looks like you sitting home watching the show. It looks like I fumbled the bag of being captain. They're like, yeah, like take the captain thing off. If you really break it down here, these are the two things.
Did terrible.
Okay, I'll get into that. These are the two things I did wrong. I put too many thumbprints on the plates while serving them, even though he's wiping the plates before sending them off. And I think the second thing I did was I overdid salt on one of the scallops or whatever, and he ripped me.
They showed it. It was so much salt, Mert.
Bro, that happened to me twice on the show, actually. But when you think about it, and then they give a huge thing of Michael taking captain and thing. I'll let you guys know there was 2 plates remaining when Michael took the captain's thing. There's 2 plates getting sent out. There's 2 steak dishes that were going to get sent out, and that was it. So. And realizing that the blue team overcooked so many scallops, they actually asked us if we had more scallops because we had to give them more scallops.
Adam fucked those things.
I bless his heart. I love Adam to death, but the scallops didn't turn out good. But you got to realize also that it's a timing system. So first of all, you got to be like, hey, drop lobster because it's taking 6 minutes to cook, and then drop scallops 4 minutes after that, and call out once it's been 4 minutes because then you drop scallops. So the scallops are still hot while the lobster is cooking. But Kame was undercooking the lobster, so the scallops are getting tossed. So the appetizer round went off with a breeze. They're sent out. I was just explaining. I'm like, and Becca and Michael were doing a great job communicating. I'm like, hey, tell when you're dropping lobster. Michael, wait 4 minutes and drop scallops, and then things should be ready. And then Rebecca was undercooking the lobster, and I know how to cook lobster, so I'm like, this is raw. I'm like, come on, yada, yada, yada. But I mean, we ended up getting the system down. We didn't send anything raw out. And then, it went flawlessly. And after, it was not on camera. After the thing, I put my finger on the thing. I'm like, guys, we fucking killed it there. And Gordon yelled at me. He's like, what is this? He's like, it's not a fucking sauna. He's like, take the towel around off your neck or whatever. He's like, we still got dinner time to go. I'm just like, Jesus. I'm like, I can't win this one. I literally can't win. But
well, did you struggle with the counts at all? Like when he's yelling out the counts, like two lobster, 4 scallops, whatever?
Not really, no. Because as soon as you count it out, I line up that many plates I've had for the first thing and that many plates the second time, for the second thing. So I was doing all the purees and set everything up.
Dude, I don't understand why he took the captain thing off you then. Because that's how you win that challenge.
I'm telling you right now, they had no drama on my side of the team because I was doing so well. They had to create something. They had to come out of something with thin air. I got taken off because of a overcooked it was a thumbprint and then an overcooked, what's it called? Fennel. You have freaking Becca's team over there freaking throwing fennel. The whole fennel's in the garbage and throwing scallops. And I'm getting criticized over there. So all I can say is they give me an interview afterwards because they always interview the 2 people after the challenge that are potentially going to go home.
Right.
And they interviewed me, and they're like, yeah, what do you think about, rip thing off? I'm like, I looked at them, I'm like, it's fucking bullshit. I'm like, you guys know it's bullshit. I'm like, I don't know why you guys ripped it off of me. And they're like, oh, okay, that's all you say? I'm like, yes. That's all you gotta say. And then Adam gets pulled up, because, it's either going to be me or Adam. And Adam gets pulled up, and, I don't know what he said, but if they sent me home, I was going to throw a conniption. I'm like, this is bullshit. You know it's bullshit. We didn't send anything raw out. We didn't have any ducks thrown against the thing. They made it look so bad during the episode. And just I'm still a little salty about it.
Yeah, you should be. Because honestly, I've done this podcast for a little bit now. And every time I've talked about the team challenge with or the restaurant takeover with anybody, I've always said the recipe is this. This is how you win it. When he calls out the appetizers, the counts, you stack those plates in front of you. Then that way you always know where you're at. If you get two scallops, 4 lobster, you pull the 2 scallop plates up and the 4 lobster plates up, and then you call them back to your team to cook. And then when he calls another one, you stack more plates, and you did that. How did you know how to do that?
I had it down to a science. How did you know? I just knew. I knew there's this many plates that would be coming out, and the thing is, there's only so many lobster and so many scallop dishes that can come out. So I'm like, hey, I can expo pretty quick. I'm like, when you hear it, start cooking those, whatever. The communication was so on point. We were a well-oiled machine back there, the red team. As soon as he called it out, I had the plates going. They knew when to drop lobsters and stuff like that. I didn't have to call anything out. And as soon as the things were done, I was just plating everything they had. And then we had one dish for whatever Rebecca was cooking one dish for Michael was cooking. I'm like, just put the proteins there. Let me just plate them real quick. And then say there's nothing going on. I'm like, help me expo these real quick. And I was just putting them out. And they didn't show that. They didn't show that I like really thought of that to put everything out on time. And then they didn't have drama, so they didn't need to make drama. They had to make it close on TV.
Wow. That's tough. How many plates do you think you guys did at the restaurant takeover? How many covers?
There was 24. It was 48 plates.
That's it?
Yep.
Damn.
48 plates. I was a little.
You guys got off easy.
I got off easy. Friggin' the blue team got off easy. God, if they had 100 plates, God knows what would have happened.
Yeah, they couldn't afford that many
Couldn't
scallops.
afford that shit. And I was honestly, and one thing I was a little upset that I thought we were like cooking Hell's Kitchen or some shit like that. Like they did like a pop up, but I'm like, come on. I'm like, come on, guys. So I don't know. It is what it is.
Yeah, that was tough. It looked like the same building that we did ours in, because that shot where you guys are walking in, that was exactly where we walked in.
The big warehouses, like the big, huge warehouses?
No, the like glass walls when you were coming off the street in LA.
Maybe.
When you were doing your walk up. I don't know. The restaurant we cooked at ended up closing.
Oh, damn.
It was a really nice restaurant. I forget.
You did it was like China one? Wasn't it like...
It was a Japanese
restaurant. One? Yeah.
Or Chinese restaurant. What was it called?
I forgot.
You just watched it,
I just watched it and I forgot what it's called. I know it was at like a Japanese or Asian restaurant.
The chef that started that restaurant, he's the one that introduced tuna tartare to the world.
Yes. I remember watching it. He had like the avocado, then the tuna, and then something, and then it looked good. It looks good.
It was rough. Well, Mert, what's the goal? What's the dream, man? What do you got ahead of you?
I really honestly don't know. I'm kind of just like taking it one step at a time here. You know, like I'm not lying. I gave you the first podcast to get me on. I have 2 other podcasts later this week to be on. So I have those 2, and then
which podcast are you doing?
I have one. It's called the TV Fantasy Chef. Like they do like this kind of the same thing you do. There's 3 of them. It's not a big podcast, but they're super cool. So I'm hopping on that, I think, next week. And then I have this one lady, and she like has reviewed like all the winners and stuff like that. And I have a podcast with me and Michael tomorrow that we're on her thing. So it should be interesting. But I'm like, nope. I'm giving Derrick first shot at talking to me here.
Well, there's might come out first. I got 4 in the can.
Yeah.
That are ahead. And then it's been so crazy. All those double episodes, double eliminations fucked my podcast. I can't interview 4 people a week.
I'm with you. It's tough. The thing is social media. I mean, honestly, like after doing that, like before doing the show, I would consider opening a restaurant. After doing the show, there's no way in fucking hell I want to open a restaurant. There's no shot. I mean, maybe if I had like a couple like cool people to go in on a restaurant with, that'd be really cool. But at my time of life, like there's no way. Like right now I'm hustling right now. Like social media is like kind of fun for me. You know, I can do some videos. I can edit it myself. I'm like, but like I hate editing. Editing sucks. It's the worst.
It's the worst.
It's the worst part of it. Like, and then
that's why they get paid so much.
Yeah. And then, but I mean, honestly, like I'm just trying to after the show finish, like it's kind of like all right, like now I can like regroup and like get back to like doing my actual job because like pretty much a lot of people don't realize this after like the whole time you're watching the show or on the show and like you're always like waiting for the show to come out, and then when it's out, you're like, oh man, like I can't do anything else because I'm on a fucking TV show right now. So it's like a whole year of your life, like you're not really doing that much. You're not focused on what is going to propel you forward to be successful. You're just kind of like, let's see what happens with this. It's a big mystery.
Yeah, you're in a limbo period.
Correct.
Dude, I get it. I mean, I was playing music full time. I walked away from the music group I was with to go do MasterChef. I came back. I did a couple more shows with them, and then they like imploded. And I was just sitting. I was like, from the period of the finale of MasterChef to before MasterChef aired was probably the darkest point of my life. Like, because I couldn't talk about it. I couldn't tell anybody what I had done. I'm looking at that NDA going, if I say a word, I'm going to be sued for $1 million that I don't have.
Yeah.
And all I was thinking is, I know how TV works. Like, they're going to make me be this villain because I don't win. Like, when do they make me the villain? But they never made me the villain. I got so lucky.
You did talk a lot of shit on that show, though. I'm not gonna lie. You were.
Yeah, but I backed it up.
You did back it up.
That's the difference.
I was the other way. I was talking a lot of shit, and I was bottom for 2 dishes in a row, and I was like, shit.
You can go see in every one of my dishes that went up. There was no bad dish, and the only time I was in the bottom was when a team member was throwing me in the bottom.
Yeah,
like it was so, which I loved. I was like, send me down here. I get to cook and you sit on the balcony. Dude, I hated being up on the balcony because everyone was cooking.
I'm kind of glad I didn't win an immunity challenge. I didn't want it. I was like, I want to cook down here. It's like more fun. Like being up there, like first of all, you get no screen time. You're up there just doing nothing. And then second of all, you're down here cooking, like you get a lot more screen time. And it's kind of funny, like thinking back at it, is everyone, again, back to the show, it's a strategy. It's a strategy on the show, like how you're going to do it. My goal was just to try to make it as long as I can and ride the middle. That's what everyone says. Ride the freaking middle. But the thing is, if you ride the middle, you're fucked at the end. You're gonna get eliminated.
Yes. The goal is in the beginning. You got to establish who you are.
Yeah.
But you don't want to be the best right out the gate. I messed up with that because Gordon then put a target on my back. And then I was literally just fighting bullets the entire season.
Yeah.
Because everyone wanted to take me out at every and I felt like Adam and Becca dealt with that on your season a lot. Like
so
anytime.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
They didn't play it right. Here's the thing. I mean, I guess they did play it right. I mean, they got as far as they did, but I was the little brother that no one wanted to have on that show. I was so nice to everyone. I was like, oh, like, what do you guys think about this? Because we have like a little bit of time to like before we're cooking and shit like that. And I'm like,
we have a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I can't fucking throw that shit in here, but yeah, we have a lot of time. So behind, like, when they tell us the rules, we go back to the green room. We're eating lunch. We're on soft ice, whatever it is, or like hard ice. Fuck the ices. I'm breaking all that shit. Breaking the ices all over the place. So I'm like, hey, what do you? And I'm always pitching ideas to people. I'm like, what do you think about this? Or like, I would be stumped for like little portion of dish. I'm like, hey, I'm thinking about this. Do you think I change it? And everyone never thought of me as a threat. Little Mert over there, just happy go lucky, causing a little havoc on TV. But the thing is, people were getting eliminated, and towards like the later part of the thing, people were like, Mert, like we can't help you anymore. Like you're kind of beating us in every challenge. And it's just like, then I see the target like got small. It was like small, like no one really cared about me. And then like, I went from like me cooking on the grill that I got thrown onto and then like winning the next challenge. And then it just got bigger and bigger. And then by like top 7, people were like, yeah, we're not talking to you anymore. I'm sorry. Like it's just how it happens. And probably the same thing happened with you.
Well, no.
Well, you started with a target. You started with it.
I started with a target, but I also went in. I was like, I'm not talking to anybody. I don't want to make friends with anybody.
Really?
Yeah. And so I went in and I took a drum pad and drumsticks, and I brought that to the green room every day and annoyed the fuck out of everybody psychologically. So I'd sit down over in the corner and I would just be doing like rudiments and and playing, and I would do like a half hour of just drum exercises.
So you annoyed people from the very beginning. So people are already like not liking you.
I just created my own world, and Steven also did. Steven, he put on these weird headphones and he carried around this bag of medicine,
But he looked like a psychopath. He looked so entertaining on TV, but like holy shit, the guy was insane.
He carried around deer piss and
really,
yeah, he was wild. And so he was over in the other corner. So between him and I, everyone was like, "This Breaking Bad episode is wild," and so I was out the gate, didn't talk to anybody, and everyone, you could hear everybody's insecurities. Like they all just talk to each other about food all day long. And it's like, you guys are talking this big game, and then Gordon stands in front of you and you all shit your pants. Like that was not me. And then obviously Gordon put the target on my back. So they wanted to take me out every time. And then same thing for season 12. Like I started getting called. I was getting like chefs were sliding into my DMs, and I was getting phone calls from chefs I hadn't talked to in a while. And they were like, are you going? Are you going? And then I hadn't made up my mind yet. So I was playing dumb. And then
I heard you talk about this with Arthur, I think, that like you had to get someone to take your spot and stuff like that. And
then so when production was like, yeah, we want you, I archived my entire fucking Instagram. I put it like, yeah, you couldn't see one dish I've ever made. I hid it all. And I did that because I wanted to see who was coming and looking. And no joke, I'd be in the green room and Kate came over. She's like, hey, she's like, what's with your Instagram? Why did you delete everything? And I was like, for that reason right there. And she was like, what? And everyone like turned and heard the conversation. They were like, what? And I was like, yeah, you see me as a threat. You're looking at my Instagram.
Yeah.
And then everyone was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I know who all of you are.
Red-handed. Yeah, exactly. I mean, the thing is, like,
dude, I play the game different. I played it different.
There's different ways to play the game. There are completely different ways to play a game. And yeah, I think by the end though, like, again, the biggest thing is I just want to have a good time on the show. I want to be happy or lucky, have a good time, yada yada. But then as soon as you get down to top 5, like I don't know what it was, my psychology, my head switched. I was like,
yeah.
They started putting in like head. They're like, I'm like, I could really win this thing. And then it started me actually like, it just a big switch is like me over stressing things. I'm just like, now I'm not having fun. Like now I'm like really just, I don't know. Like it just is a weird thing that happened in my mind. But
I mean, it is a psychological thing the whole way through. And I mean, there was times like we had a fish and chips challenge. It was like part of it. It was a team challenge. We had to do a burger. We had to do fish and chips. And literally the next day at Crafty for lunch, we got served fish and chips after just making like 100 fucking fish and chips. And then Gordon, we walk out on the set and Gordon goes, how was lunch? And it was like, God. You asshole.
Dude, Gordon's funny, man. Like
he's so funny.
He is so funny and so smart, like about like the comebacks. Like, cause like I'll give Gordon a comeback or whatever like this. And they didn't show this. During my audition, when I was presenting my dish or whatever, and Gordon's like, oh, like you're a Gen Z, you've seen TikToks before, and Nick Giovanni's there, and Gordon's there. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I saw the TikTok of you making a grilled cheese sandwich. It didn't look that great. And they didn't put it in the show.
Of course not.
And Nick was there, and Nick made one with like Tom Brady and remaking Gordon's grilled cheese sandwich. And and Nick was dying laughing, and Gordon was like, damn. And I'm like, it was so funny. But Gordon, dude, he's such a good guy. He's like good heart. Like he means well for everyone else. Like, you know, he just like wants everyone to do well. He's just like, he's smart too. He deserves to be on TV. He's
good. He's
quick on the comebacks.
Unbelievable. It's unbelievable what he's done. Unbelievable. Dude, this is a good chat. I feel like you and I can just hang out all day long. But
yeah, you got shit to do today, don't you?
We all do. Yeah, I'm doing a pop up next weekend with Scotty at his house. It's sold out in less than 2 hours. That's crazy. The menu's insane. So going over to his house to just kind of like pick out plates, talk about the food. We got one person with some allergies, so we got to discuss how we're approaching that, and just getting the ball rolling here in Dallas, man.
Good stuff. Good stuff. A lot of work. I get it. It's a lot of work.
Have you done any pop-ups? Are you doing any private dinners? Have you done any of that stuff?
I did a watch party for one of the weeks, and it was actually super fun. So I did a 5-course meal. I didn't cook it. I was more in the front, but I cooked it a week before for this restaurant. It's called Lottie Bar in Fort Lauderdale, and like they cook really good food. Chefs back there is really good. And I'm like, I want to do a 5-course meal during like these double episodes or whatever I was cooking. And I'm like, I want to replicate the dishes I'm cooking on TV. So while you guys are eating them, you guys are going to watch. While you guys are watching me, you're going to be eating kind of a similar dish. And it's a lot of work. You know, we did like a scallop with romesco with brown butter and fried shallots. I did like some A5 Wagyu dish with wasabi mash and stuff like that. Or not wasabi, like some tuna wasabi mash. There's a bunch of things. I'll send it to you. But it was a lot of work, but it was like super cool to do the whole thing. Like just like the expressions that people were getting on their faces, they're just like blown away by these dishes. And it's just like, it all came together so good. So I think I'm going to try to like start doing more of that. I think maybe like coordinate with some of the people like I've been on the show with. I've been talking to like Adam and Mike and Kamei and a couple other people that they want to do like pop-ups and stuff like that. But it's just hard to coordinate stuff. And what's kind of annoying is like I'm a big planner, but like you plan something, no one else wants to help plan it. All right. Well, we'll wrap up the questions. Yeah, 2 questions. I know you asked at the end of.
Oh yeah. So you've been thinking about this. Okay, so dead or alive, what celebrity would you cook for?
So the one celebrity I would cook for is, again, I'm a big vibey person, so I want someone who's gonna be like happy and appreciative of it. And again, like with the type of music that I like, I really like EDM music, and like I watch like backstories of these people. So you know who Martin Garrix is? He's like one of the biggest EDM DJs right now, and like he has a whole story of him on YouTube. He's like young, he's like my age, but he's just like is a young, inspirational like guy. He's like, always happy, and I think it'd be so cool to like cook for him, and like because I know you appreciate the food, and just be like, this is so fun. Like just the vibes would be good. So I think
you could make that happen.
I could make that happen. Maybe I'll reach out to him. I gotta get a little more followers on the gram, but someone that I would cook for or with. Is that the next question?
No, I don't remember. I don't have these questions like locked down. It's the celebrity one. The other question I would say is if you could go back on MasterChef and redo a dish, which one would it be and what would you make?
I'd remake my last dish. I'd make it the way I wanted to. I'm gonna keep that recipe kind of. I probably because if it's a back to win one, you know how it's gonna happen. They're gonna be like, hey, like remake your the dish you went out on.
Yeah, for sure.
Peace.
Let's make it happen, brother. All right.
See you, man.